Okay, yes. So hi everyone, welcome to Thailand Pavilion. This is one of the most important conversation that we need to have is about youth and their leadership in all aspects to actually move forward this solution about climate change. So there's a lot of country, there's a lot of youth from several different sectors. So I will let you all introduce yourself. So please say your name, where you're from, and why you are here. Yes. From the left, yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lana Vadganand. I work in campaigns and policy for ProVeg International, which is an NGO on food systems and healthy, sustainable diets. And I am here both at COP28 and in this panel from a perspective of young people who are working on health and climate action. Particularly, my focus is being on food systems and diets in terms of health and youth involvement.
Hello, everyone. I'm Renard from Malaysia. I'm actually a community champion for the Global Shapers community. Part of APAC. So as you know, we are a youth-led organization as part of the World Economic Forum. So I do work quite closely with, the different hub curators to sort of advance positive impact across the region. So looking forward to our conversation.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Akira Trivisvavid. I'm a Thai youth delegate. I'm currently a high school student from Concord, Massachusetts. And I'm working on a project for that is about social justice, human rights, and climate actions right now in Thailand. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie. I'm a youth delegate from Thailand. And I'm very passionate in the field of healthcare, sustainability, but also the food systems. So the main question that I really want to answer or find some answers from this conference is the complex relationship between obesity, malnutrition, and how sustainability can play a role in that. So I founded the Berkeley Alternative Protein Project in the US, where it acts as a think tank for alternative protein innovation for students around the globe.
Yeah.
But I also very passionate about health space, so looking at solutions in healthcare as
Thank you. Woohoo! Welcome home.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Vitor Risati. I am a researcher from the Latin American Observatory of Energy Geopolitics in Brazil, and I work mainly with energy justice in Latin America.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, I am sure you don't know about me, but anyway, my name is Winifred Awumpuya-Tanga. I am from Ghana, and I am an energy advocate. No, that's the right way. I'm an energy advocate, and mostly into energy access for marginalized communities and indigenous communities. So I'm just trying to reduce the emissions and health-related effects of using solid fuels for cooking. So my aim for this conference is to contribute to discussions and policies that would favor marginalized and indigenous communities, especially in the global south. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, to make it very active, I would like to ask my next question, and I think it's a very social kind of question. What kind of the narrative for youth that needs to be changed for climate change, right? What kind of the narrative that needs to be shifted? Like you just say, I'm not an activist and an advocate, right? So all those little things, I think when people think about youth, they only think they're just campaigning, they're just talking about it. But for you as a youth in that realm, what you think is the most narrative that needs to be changed right now? And also talking about what you're caring about, what you're fighting for. So I'm going to give you guys 1 minute for pitch to the audience. So whoever ready, stand here, 1 minute, start, and then let's do it. Yes. Wow, you ready? Yes, you have to be here. Woohoo! And you only have 60 seconds. And when it's about to time, I will let you know.
Okay.
You ready? Woo, let's do it. Let's think about you're in front of some world leader, the national leaders, and you have to pitch this thing. He only have 1 minute for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's do it.
I think one of the biggest problem with you today is saying, I can't start because I don't know how to start. So I think the narrative that needs to change is you need to drop I can't and then take on I will and then always do it. And also a narrative that the bigger, not the big, like the older generation who are into the high places, you don't have the opportunity to speak to them or change policies that they make, but then ask them why. Ask them why till they are able to answer your question. So I think that's the narrative that needs to change. Just do it. Don't say I can't or I can't influence. You can influence. You just need to ask them why till they answer your question. Thank you.
5 more seconds to go, but yes. Come on, let's change the narrative. One need to be heard. Yes.
Okay, so I believe I'm going in the same direction as Winnie, because I believe what needs to be changed is the way the older generation sees us, because we are trying to dialogue with them. We want them to hear from us, and we also want to learn from them. But do they want to talk to us? Do they want to hear what youth has to say? I believe Brazil has been doing well on that part. We are hosting a National Youth Conference in December. We've elected 100 delegates from all across the country, and we are gathering everyone together to talk about major changes and major challenges we have today. And this is one of the indicators that the government does want to hear from us, but I still don't think that's enough. I think that's only the start. And we have to keep doing our work, conquering more spaces for youth, and that's what I believe it has to be changed. Thank you.
Woohoo! Listen to us. Deep listening. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Woohoo!
For me personally, I think youth is a very important voice in society. We are growing to become the catalyst for change in the near future. 5 years, 10 years time, we'll be having some stands on the stage. So youth come from very diverse backgrounds as well. We have very diverse interests and experiences. So I feel like adults should kind of place a power in youth and also believe that they can have some say in important discussions, because in the future they will bring their hopes and dreams to the stage and be able to bring that change to life as well. So I think having the stage for youth to play is very important, and I feel like youth empowerment is the way for adults to hear youth voices, because if we don't get the chance to be heard, then they will not be able to know what we actually want from them. So I think having a stage is very important for youth.
Woohoo, very powerful. No one actually exceeds 1 minute yet. That's great. You guys are very efficient.
Thank you so much for having me here today. What I feel like is the most important part of youth's voice is spotlight on not just their voice, but actions that they're making. It could be really small actions or big actions. It doesn't matter how big or how impactful their action is to climate change. What matters the most is the spotlight of the whole world on their action that could one day inspire other youths to take the same action as well. Thank you.
Thank you. In a very soft way.
30 seconds.
Oh, you want only 30 seconds?
No, I think for me, one of the challenges that youths have is that people always say youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but actually the reality is that they are the leaders of today, and this is something that we have sounded often over and over again in our community, especially with the Global Shapers community. Because if you look at the world today, actually a lot of the things that we do right now is actually really championed by youths. They're really youth-led. They're the ones that are on the ground that's really trying to enact change. They're trying to change the narrative of how our world should be. And my ask is for youths to continue to sit on the table where important decisions are actually made. I think this is an area that has been neglected, and there's a lot of gaps. If you look at who are the key decision makers in our world today, right? They're mostly, like the older generation. But the decisions that we make today will continue to influence what happens in the next 20, 30, 40 years to come. So we have to participate in the process because our voices matter. Our opinions matter, our experiences actually matter, and our life experiences collectively, will actually change the world. So let's continue to unite, act, and continue to amplify the voices of you. Give those who are voiceless, those in marginalized communities, an opportunity to contribute, right, to this agenda. Thank you.
Young people are not only important stakeholders because we will be largely impacted by the climate crisis and because we have a lot of passion and energy, but also because we are valuable partners. And young people can be experts in our fields too. So for instance, this year we had a youth partnership between Youngo, ProVeg International and Food at COP to provide more plant-based, healthy, sustainable food options in this conference that you are at. So when you see more plant-based options here, please think of us and the possibility of youth partnership and continue to follow that example.
Woo. Yes, we really need you. Just the energy, the hope, and then many other things. Any from the audience side, you think the narrative that needs to be shifted? You want a mic? Oh, no? No? Just say hi? Okay. Any from the audience? Sure, yes.
Hi, my name is Mil. I am a software engineer. Don't know as much about climate yet. I'm trying to learn a little bit more. But I'd like to approach from a little bit more of a science perspective. So I heard there's a Harvard study about kind of like the processing speed of people's brains as they get older. And you can see the curve goes up like this, and then at around 40, it dips a lot. And then it kind of goes down like that for the rest of your life. And if you think about it, youth, as defined by the UN, is, ages 18 to 35. This is kind of where we're reaching the peak of our processing power. We might not always have the knowledge to make the right decision, but we do have the raw brain power that could be leveraged for all sorts of new ideas and innovations. And the older generation may want to harvest some of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I already passed my peak. That's so sad. Anyway, but no, I think there's so much narrative that needs to be shifted and changed, and the deep listening at COP28 is so important. And I think, let's say for the next 10 years or 5 years, none of us here probably not going to be youth anymore, right? So this is such a great transition. And okay, so my next question to all of you, and really want to hear from you, and for the audience, I hope you put a lot of effort from what they pitch about, listen deeply about this opportunity. I'm wondering what you think about this future of you and the climate change, and what needs to be shift and change, and what you are working on for that change. What do you dedicate your life, your future, to make this change? I heard something about food. I heard something about engagement, about health, and about environment in general. So we want to dig deep a bit. And again, please come in front and then tell us what you're passionate for, what you think need to be shifted right now. And let's imagine that Antonio Guterres was sitting here on his chair. Yes. Let's do it. How long do you guys need per each pitch? No, you actually exceed. Let's say not more than 2 minutes, so you can dive deep a bit, right? And make it very powerful. Yes. Maybe some of them are banker and looking for the investment.
I'm passionate about food systems and agriculture because if we do not address sustainability in food systems, we will not be able to meet the Paris Agreement targets of limiting global warming to 1.5 or 2 degrees Celsius. And so while energy is incredibly important, and we've been talking about that for several years, we cannot overlook sustainability in food systems and agriculture as well. And there are many promising solutions, including shifting diets, more alternative protein solutions that another young panelist has mentioned as well. And there's a lot of youth innovation and ideas that we can tap into to address this area. So we need to make sure that it's happening, and it's a critical part of all climate action plans, particularly NDCs moving forward.
Thank you. Okay, let me hear back from the audience a bit about your pitch. Anyone want to agree, disagree, make comments and suggestions? Can I have your voice? Oh no. This is actually about intergenerational conversation, and we want to hear from you. And please introduce yourself.
I'm Razib from Malaysia. I'm 52 years old. We borrowed this planet from you. We're going to return back this planet for you. So what my generations are doing now is not for me, it's for you. Is that powerful enough?
Yes. Woo.
I'm from the energy sector.
Yes.
We have pledged net zero 2050, but we're going to accelerate those projects, greening this all sectors, not only energy, transportation,
food,
building. Yeah, for all of you, that
yes.
You're going to inherit the planet that we found when we came in. So as I said, we borrow from you, we're going to return you in the best possible way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woohoo. Yes. Thank you. So the youth from Malaysia would actually, we already record him. So yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, next pitch. And the audience, please listen and participate and give comments. I think this is not about them, it's about us, and we are here together.
Yeah, so one of the things that I said earlier was youths need to participate in the decision-making process. I think one key gap that I'm noticing is the enactment of a climate change act, right? So, we have governments changing all the time, but then what we need in terms of consistency, in terms of commitment, is really to establish, right, a strong act that covers both mitigation and adaptation strategies, right, for countries. This is an area that is really a huge gap. Without this in place, our future is really at stake because anything could happen. There's so many uncertainties. But unfortunately, this is also the hardest part, right, to really move the needle on. Because typically in such a process, youths are a voice that's usually left out. And youths are amazing. As we heard from our panel today, there's so many people that's working on plant-based solutions, that's focusing on things like pollution, protection of coral reefs. So as I say, they are actually already at the forefront of, making changes, whether we like it or not. So why should they be ignored? They should participate. We have to find a way to get them into the process of getting their voices heard, getting them a seat at the table, or even giving them the whole table, if you like, because that's really in the spirit of championing diversity, right?
What is your project?
For me, I'm very keen on really digging into adaptation, climate adaptation. So in some of our communities, people are already, suffering from severe floods. Events. So flood events, like people are losing their homes, those involved in agriculture, farming are losing, facing a severe decline in terms of crop use, right? So they're facing what we call a double whammy effect, floods, severe floods followed by severe drought. So how do we continue to build resilience in that space? Do we focus on technology? Do we focus on things like precision agriculture? All of this are easier said than done. In terms of resourcing, financing, there are still gaps that needs to be addressed. So I think these are areas that I hope we would be able to work together to champion.
Thank you. Woohoo. Let's give him a big hands, yes. So from the audience, you have any feedback? Yeah, sure, yes. Thank you. And please introduce yourself.
you, Rafael Potselva, Director of UN Advocacy with Proveg International. I'm just thinking of one thing that is kind of concerning with the youth engagement, etc., is sometimes in some regions what I see as the lack of engagement in policy and political spaces. We know also that the results in election in my regions, like in Germany or France, are not necessarily good, with a lot of people voting for very extreme parties that do not even acknowledge climate change sometimes. And so this is something that worries me a lot, because I think that it's great to have so much young people in incubator in many spaces and startups, but in the political policy space, it seems sometimes also that when we see our parliament, at least in France or in Germany, it's clearly something where we lack at least the voice of youth. So I think it's something that we're really missing, and that is very important, because it's great to have so much engagement in so many spaces, but in the policy space, it's completely very clear that it's older people that are having the say.
I agree, and even it's very lag in European thinking about in Asia is gonna be a little bit more difficult with the social structure. But yes, thank you for sharing. And to just a second, there is one more audience who want to take place in this topic. Yes.
Hi, just very quickly, my name is Yuping Chan. I actually come from the United Nations, various parts of the Secretariat. I came over actually quite ironically because I heard a Singaporean voice speaking. And as a proud Southeast Asian, I'm very big on this idea that, especially for youth activism, it's important to hear voices from different regions. And sad to say, we have a lot of activism and attention paid to youth from the global north, but from the global south, I think it's really, really important to hear about projects, perspectives, and regional approaches to climate action. And so I'm particularly glad that there is that space here where I see, for instance, Southeast Asians, and representatives from the global south speaking about their experiences. So I think when we talk about youth action and leadership, I really think that diversity of perspective is very, very important. And on that note, I would also want to just say to the youth here, right across there, we also have that approach where we have a youth program where we have lots of youth from around the region. So I encourage the youth to come over and hang out with our youth as well. And also do this, really put into practice this idea that we need that diversity of opinion. And from the UN Secretariat, I tell you this, that my personal commitment is to making sure there is that type of diversity in youth activism. And it's not just tokenism, right? We're not just inviting youth here to talk, but we really, as policymakers or as structural parts of the UN, really listen to these types of conversations and voices. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the two audience voice, and I think it's so ensure that you never know who actually sitting there. Your voice probably need to be here, and it's probably possible now at the Thailand Pavilion. So let's hear from another youth from Southeast Asia, from Thailand. Yes.
Hi, so I'm currently working on a project.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
My name is Akira. I'm a youth delegate from Thailand. I'm currently a high school student studying in Concord, Massachusetts. And what I'm working on right now is a project that includes going to local communities in Thailand and understanding their lifestyle and helping them adjust to climate actions and especially waste management, because there's a lot of waste management impact that could impact many other local communities in Thailand. For example, my project helps them manage waste from their elephants in an elephant sanctuary. They're currently just leaving their elephants' manure in rivers and streams, and their other post-harvest waste or pre-harvest activities are also impacting the environment because they're burning them, which results in PM 2.5. And there's also methane that gets emitted by the elephant manure. So that's all domino effects of poor waste management that could affect our climate. So what I plan to do is help them understand waste management and try to influence my actions to other local communities that could one day help stop the domino effect, because all these effects doesn't only affect their own small communities, it affects other people in the Thai community as well, because Thai communities depend on water as part of their lifestyle and also tourism. And because of the PM 2.5 in the northern part of Thailand, tourism is the times tourists can visit that specific place is really limited because it's really bad for our health to be in that place with such bad air quality. So I really want to, one, emphasize the fact that we have to try to understand those local communities and help them adjust instead of just putting our system into their shoes and not trying to understand them at all. And yeah, that's just what I think is the most important thing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Akira. Give a big hand to Akira. Another great idea from the youth. Anyone from the audience would like to get some comments, feedback for her project? Thank you.
So first, Akira, very good presentation. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, Nicolas Sauvage from TDK Ventures. So we invest in climate change startups. Very good presentation. I can sense the passion. What I like is that you're not looking at imposing certain structure, but you're looking at how the community lives and what they do and what should be the right educations to improve. So kudos.
Thank you.
Ooh, thank you. This is a very important solution that you not impose anything, even just in the same nation, believe the class of the people, or even global south, global north. We actually have to be partner this together. Thank you so much. I really love that comments for this project. Any more voice for that? Thank you. Yes.
Hi.
Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Zaim. I'm the head of the Brunei Climate Change Secretariat. I must say, really well done. Very articulately explained. I've actually never been to Thailand except the Bangkok airport. But hearing you talk about the Mekong River, I think it's really profound because you're seeing it from a holistic perspective, right? It's not just going to affect Thailand, but Laos and neighboring regions. So what you're doing, other people might not realize the gravity of it, but these small things will have a massive impact. So really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Woohoo. Wow. Yes, I think this is a very important, the message is actually not about listening, but also reflect what the thinking and support them right on the spot. So the next youth, Jessie, can you pitch for 2 minutes and let's see what's, yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessie. I'm a youth delegate from Thailand. I'm very passionate about the intersection of healthcare and the food systems. And today is actually particularly important to me because it's the first time in COP that there's a health day particularly dedicated to health. And it has been 28th conference for COP, but yeah, healthcare has only been raised as a very important day today. And people say that climate crisis is also a health crisis, but I think it's very important for youth, especially because healthcare, our health crisis nowadays kind of will just go along with youth, and it's a problem that we did not create, but we have to pay for. So I think it affects everyone around the globe, but it also a problem that we have to tackle together. So the area that I'm very passionate to look into is on the preventative side of healthcare. Like healthcare nowadays focuses a lot on sick care. So people just go to hospitals and get treatment when they're already sick. But there's a lot of areas in the preventative side where we can work together to prevent, where people can, before they get sick, they can seek solutions, but also even with the climate change solutions, we can work together to prevent all these diseases happening to all of us. So I started the Berkeley Alternative Protein Project, which is a think tank at Berkeley, connecting youth or students around the globe to innovate solutions around alternative protein alternative proteins such as plant-based, cultivated, and fermentation. But I also believe that there's a lot of rooms to play in nutrition space where we can tackle areas around obesity, which is a global problem, but also malnutrition in other areas of the globe at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessie. Wow, it's such a key problems that related to climate change, how we eat and how we taking care of ourselves. Any audience who, okay, yes, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Luva. I'm from Madagascar. I'm a youth advocate passionate about education, and what I can learn from your presentation, it was very, very heart-touching. I see that you are really passionate about the topic, and if I was like able to like partners and like fund you or things like that, I would definitely say yes. I follow you. We see that you really deeply care, and that I think that is important because all of you are really passionate about what you are doing for, and that's really different. And it's a great project, and I wish you the best in the next step.
Thank you. Please give a hand to our comments as well. Any more comments? Yes? Okay. Anyone want to feedback about health? Okay. So the next speakers.
So I believe I'm going to say something a little bit different from what my friends have said already. I am going to talk about perspective, and we all have been participating in many events in this past week about energy, about climate change, and I'm going to tackle a question that has been really increasing my worries when it comes to energy and to engagement, because I heard in a panel, just so you know, it was a panel with only white people and only North, from the global North, and also only English-speaking people. And then one of them said, listen, you have to choose to work to green companies. You have to work for the companies that are doing good for the environment and that are trying to reach net zero. And I was thinking, yes, of course, we all would love to do that. I really want to work for a company that's actually doing good for the planet. But do we always have an option? I don't think we do. If we're talking from the global south, if we're talking from Latin America, for example, sometimes people don't have a choice. Because in the world we live in, you either work or you either die. And if you have to work for a company that's actually working with fossil fuels and exploring the environment, and you don't have a choice to do something else, unfortunately, you will have to do that. So that was just a really wide perspective and a really North-centered perspective that didn't make sense to the reality I know and to most of the people I know. And if we talk about community engagement, whenever you're talking about green energy and the green sector as well, you need to have community engaged, because not all of these investments are going to reach the right people. In Latin America, we also have wind energy and solar energy investments that are not getting to the right people. They are not electrifying communities that still do not have access to electricity. And one of the works I have been doing lately is to working with an isolated community in Peru. They do not have access to electricity. They are 5 hours away by boat from any city, and they obviously do not have access to electricity. So what we did was to talk to the community and see what was their need. And they told us that they wanted to have access to electricity, but the first thing they needed was to have access to internet. Because since they were 5 hours away from any city, whenever they had any problems like a snake bite or anything like that, they needed to have contacts with other places. We heard the community and we thought, what can we do to help them? And we installed a satellite internet system with solar energy. That was our first choice. And then from there, we are trying to connect the community to an electrical system, also with solar energy. But the difference of our project was that everyone was engaged. The whole community was engaged. They participated in the meetings. They had to sign a form telling us what they wanted, what they needed, and that they actually wanted to be a part of this. So we heard them first, we work with them, we build things with them, and then we create our projects. And when we're talking about business, this is often what doesn't happen, you know, communities are not being heard. And that's the message I want to give you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, this is such a good process of how you listen to the user. And I really like the beginning that you mentioned about if you're working in the company that, you know, that's not very well defined for the climate reason, and are you not going to work on there? But I just feel that as I pass my youth, and I feel that if you want to make change, you have to be in the systems. You cannot fix climate change without bureaucracy system. You have to be in that system and create change. So it's not matter where you are, it's about who you are in the system. So that's very touched me. Thank you. Yes. Oh, we got two. We got two opinions. Thank you. Can you introduce yourself and stand up?
Hello, my name is Hyunju Shin. I'm from Seoul, South Korea, and I'm here. I am here as a delegate for our coalition for our common future. So actually, he mentioned about the importance of community building, and what our organization is trying to do is build community, not only for the climate expert, but also everyone from all generation and everyone from all fields, such as industry or even the fossil fuel industry, because we actually started a Green Big Bang Summit and this year, and we just started the first prelude, and there we met so many, we just include so many people around the or industry section and academia and technology, such as Hyundai Motors or like LG Energy Solution and everything. So what I want to say is that it is very important to build to make a stage for everyone to connect each other, right? And that's one of your points. And what our organization is trying to do is that. And also we are hoping to connect to other community globally. So please remember the Coalition for Our Future and Green Big Bang, so that you can connect to each other, even the people in Korea. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe your next project is in South Korea now. Yes. Thank you so much. And yes, to Shogun.
Hi everyone, my name is Shogun and I'm a youth delegate from Thailand. So I actually really like what you're saying about how right now there's a lot of conversations happening at a very high level. Lots of, these plenaries with global north leaders who are, business leaders, prime ministers, government from the top. But then a lot of the time, the global south conversation's lacking. And the reality is not what the expectation is like. We want net zero by 2050. We want to achieve our carbon neutrality by 2030. But then in reality, some of the communities that we're working with don't even have internet access. And how do we tackle, being net neutral or decarbonize the whole supply chain when we don't even have basic food or basic resources in order to live? So I think that it's important to include the global south conversations in every single conversation, because the aspirations of leaders right now does not match the reality of 95% of the communities around the world. Yeah, so that's really, I think, resonating with me. Thank you.
Thank you. So great. Thank you for what you do. So great. Yes. Okay, last but not least, the youth from Ghana, right? Yes. You got 2 minutes. Let's do it.
So I am from an indigenous community in Ghana, and growing up, I used to see how my people lived and what we believed in, and some of the practices that we did, and how we conserved our environment, because we believe to be able to live in peace with nature, you need to preserve what you came and met. You don't destroy it. But then recently, there has been a surge in the global emissions, and we contribute very less to these emissions, but we suffer most. So through that, I founded the Conservation Leaders Network, which is a youth movement of people from marginalized and indigenous communities, providing climate change education to local communities to bridge the climate risk perceptions in these communities, and to give them knowledge to be able to be resistant to some of the effects of climate change. Through my network, we've been able to empower about 2,000 plus of our community members in the north, the east, and the west of Ghana, which are mostly dominant, indigenous community resident areas. And we've been able to empower about almost close to 200 local women on clean cooking for sustainable livelihood. Through this, we partnered with organizations that have clean cooking in Ghana to distribute clean energy to these communities for them to use. So I think it's all about what we do. We use the knowledge that we get, and in the process of doing that, I had to use indigenous conservation knowledge. You have to speak in the language that they understand. You can't tell them about climate change. They don't know what climate change is, but tell them about, you remember our farming season was from March to August? This time around is from April to July. Why is it so? It's because the climate is changing. And how can we change it? It's because we do this and that. Because at the end of the day, it's our knowledge that that saves our planet. It's what we know and it's what we believe in that would help us to create sustainable solutions that can impact our communities as well. So this is what I and my team is currently doing, and we are looking forward to expanding to other parts of sub-Saharan Africa to help more communities as well to transition to clean cooking and also to be resistant to the effects of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. It's such a calling when you be a voice for your own community, and I think that's very strong on your presentations. And yes, for the women as well. So anyone who feel aligned or be part of this pitch from Ghana, you wanna join? Sure, yes, thank you.
I'll give it another stab. No, I think thank you for sharing. I think so for our side, we developed the National Adaptation Plan, and we can't get it done without the support of the indigenous groups and local communities. Because as you said, the definition or the way of communicating, it's not easy for people to get technical terms. And most people blame not understanding climate change because it sounds too technical. And yet we want people to absorb and help. So I think that approach is very strong, right? I would love to visit Ghana and meet some of my chale, right? Because it's really important that the voices are really heard, and it shapes policy decisions as well.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I'm also from Korea. Came here with Hanju. Oh, thank you. Give me more. Sorry, actually, the Ghana story is very interesting because Korea also supports some projects, efficient cooking stoves, better fuel. But what I realized is that we're doing this vast projects globally, but like people don't know about them, right? Like for instance, I don't know if many of you are fans of soccer or football or whatever. Like if Newcastle plays Manchester, we all know about it, right? But why can we not know about the good mitigation wins that are happening all around the world, like Ghana or Vietnam or Thailand or even Korea, right? So what I'm trying to say is if there's a platform that can sort of show all that big wins, right? Send some hopeful messages, but with, obviously accurate data, science, how much project there is, how many projects there are, how much financing it went, what are like the carbon mitigation outcome for every dollar. I mean, that would, I think, accelerate even more projects across the world because there will be a clear benchmark. And I just wanted to actually throw this question to everyone here, if there's anyone helping us, I mean, not anyone who's doing something similar so that we can collaborate. Hyunju is sort of the international communication agent for our organization, and that's what we're trying to build. So again, two things. If you have any experiences, please share with us. And most importantly, if you wanna join hands, please contact us. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. There's so much opportunities around this COP28. Chokun, you wanna?
Yeah, I have some more thoughts to add to also Hongjin. Thank you for the thought as well. So there's, two things. There's allocation of funding, but the other part is distribution of funding as well. So when local communities, create these projects, there's not a lot of distribution of the funding that goes to like the very grassroots of the people who are trying to create change. And so having a platform that allows you to track better what they're doing, and then have like clearer outcomes, I think is a very important initiative. And I think that one of the ways that we can, create this platform is also to allow the local communities to constantly update, create a decentralized way of, communicating information about the local initiatives that are happening, and then trying to aggregate all of them into like a single platform that's easy to use and interoperable between different systems. And I think that something like this doesn't exist yet, and I would love to see more of that. And I would love to see how, these pledges generally get more distributed widely to local communities around the world. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, it's such a dialogue that's very ongoing at COP in the bigger scales as well. So back to you on the stage, and I think this is any feedback from what you hear from among your friends as well. You wanna share?
Sorry, Shogun, right? No, I really like what you were saying about, there's a distinction between just capital allocation and also thinking through about the distribution, right? I think, sometimes a lot of the youth projects, like we typically skip the impact area, like where, it's just about, what's next steps in terms of executing the project, but we don't think through, the sort of outcomes that we deliver. In fact, majority of the indicators that we use are mostly outputs. You run a training, a workshop, how many people have attended, instead of asking the right questions around how many people were actually switched on or actually acted because of the understanding that they had. And I think that's where we need to aim, like more of an outcomes-based approach rather than, an output type of approach. So I resonate with that, and I think there's a lot more that we can do to improve the impact sector.
I'm really inspired by all the projects that we're working on. Bringing plant-based food to COP is really important, mitigation, and you're working on waste management and what? Elephant waste and what? Yeah, health. Oh, okay, she's elephant. Okay, health. I'm so sorry. There's so many ideas that are really good. Research and helping marginalized communities. It's really important to also highlight that as we're working towards our goals, we should make sure we partner with other young people who are it's really important to go in this together. Individual work, it's okay, but look at yourself and then imagine multiplying yourself into clones of 10 people. That's how teamwork is. So I think it's really important that we are all working together. And the high school, you're doing so well. I also started in high school. So there's just a bright future ahead of you. You can collaborate with your classmates to lead projects as well. So I think, yeah.
No, I really like this conversation. I think it's very authentic since youth is from 0 to 35. There's someone younger than you, there's someone older than you. So, and at some point, youth will pass you by. And when you become adult or whatever, young adult, what other opportunities you can give back to the community you once claimed as well. So I really think this is a very powerful give and take conversation. So last but not least, what are you gonna say or leave with us in this panel? And of course, there's some audience online from Thailand and many places around the world as well. What would you be your final closure for this session? What have you learned? What are you wishing for? What is a game-changing COP you want to create? You still have 2 weeks, maybe less, but the actor is now here. The floor is yours. You want to go first or from this side? Maybe from here. She haven't been speaking for a while.
Oh, God. Yeah, we can start from here. Okay. I agree with Winifred that I think one of the largest takeaways we can clearly see is that there's so many different projects that young people are engaging in. actions that we are taking, not only in terms of asking politicians, decision makers, and businesses to take action, but that we are taking action ourselves, not only in this conference and in the policy spaces, but back in our countries and our different projects and the ways that we're making the change happen. I hope that more attention will be paid to that, that we can use that as an example, how young people are leading the way already, and that we can spread those examples and be able to talk about it more ourselves and at the tables with the other decision makers. Too often as young people, I think we feel this frustration where you barely make it into a high-level forum, and then you see someone on stage using young people or youth as an example, right, where we are kind of the victim, where we are going to be impacted, and not letting a young person come and say, no, we are leading the future already today, and you can learn from us. So let's have more of that happen, and let's bring more youth partnership together amongst ourselves and also intergenerationally. I think there's a lot of hope in this room.
Thank you. Intergenerational is a keyword.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we explored today was just the challenges that we face, right? As youths, we know that climate change is what we call the defining issue of our generation. But within this crisis also, there's a lot of opportunities, and we have seen all of the great examples of the panelists today, each and every one of them coming into their own, stepping out, and then running projects that are truly impactful. What they need really is just scalability, and you can only do this, right, through proper partnerships, collaborating, finding the right people, and just be really proactive in seeking for such solutions. I think proactiveness really works both ways. Even when you get a coach or a mentor, don't just expect your coach to tell you what to do, but also to take the first step to actually find out what is it that you require from them. How do you leverage on their power or influence, right, through their networks in order to create that change. And I think once we're able to tap into that, that's really, like stepping into our true light, our true power.
Thank you.
I actually forgot to mention that the solution that I had for my project, I implemented a waste to value solution that turns elephant manure into soil conditioners that can kind of like give them a second source of income. And what I can take away from this as I carried on with my project, something that I learned from this project is that it doesn't matter if this project that you do is like a whole new idea or not. It could just be something that you saw from the internet that you feel like this could be an initiative that could influence other people and like kind of cause a domino effect of like a good influence that could be kind of cause a positive impact for climate change. What is most important is that you take that small initiative and kind of, as Winnie mentioned, find other people that has the same interests, the same determination as you, and just come together and all take that small initiative that can one day become like a big thing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Jessie.
One big takeaway for me is the power of intergenerational cooperation. So there's a lot of energy among the youth, but there's also a lot of experiences among the adults as well. So there's a lot of opportunity where we can cooperate, and there's a lot of opportunity for active listening, for empathy, as well as for partnership cooperation. We talked about the supply chain of distribution, right? So there's a problem with the allocation of resources, there's a problem with the distribution of funding, but there's also a problem of measuring impact on the end side. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to cooperate together among adults and youth, and there's a lot of meaningful changes that can happen from this.
Thank you.
I am going back to community one more time, and the message I would like to leave is just don't forget who you are, don't forget where you come from, and don't forget the people you are speaking up for, because we need to implement everything we learn from our global partners, from our country partners as well, in our communities and in the people who are closer to us. So that's the message I would like to give to you.
Thank you.
My call to young people is going back to the first question she asked us before the panel started about what ideology needs to change when it comes to creating change as young people. We need to stand up for ourselves, not just speaking up to decision makers, but then taking on projects. The blend of entrepreneurship and climate change is a very big opportunity for solutions around solving climate issues globally, and how can we use the intersection for our good. I think we should just start things. Any idea that comes to mind that you think is important for your community, you need to start up and then just work towards it, and don't be intimidated by people who are in higher positions, because when the time comes, we are actually creating solutions for ourselves and not for them, because we are the future. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you. And I think the most important conversation wherever in COP is actually like the real deep listening conversation and really make change in reality. So thank you so much, youth. And don't forget that there are millions of youth who's not at COP. So do your best act to represent all of them around the globe. Thank you so much. Please give a big hand to all the speakers. And we will have a group photos, and we want to include all of you in there. But right before, may I invite Director Jonglak to give the gifts to all the speakers from Thailand.